What's up, everybody? It's your boy Shawn P. Greene, Shawn Patrick Greene. Also, I'm back after actually a long 4-day weekend because of a little illness that kind of spread throughout the community. It's a beautiful, snowy Monday morning on March 28th, 2022. I mean, winter does not end in Buffalo sometimes until after April. Believe it or not. I mean, we've had a 40-degree weather here in May at one point. I came and visited one time when I lived in Florida. I lived in Florida down in Tampa for about 12 years, and during that time, I came up to visit. And I believe I remember exactly it was May 12th. Might be in late 90s. But when I came to visit, I've already was accustomed to Southern California weather and then Florida weather. So that's about a 10-year span almost. So I come visit in May in Buffalo to see a friend of mine, stay over a couple nights. It was 40 degrees. I was not ready for that. I was not prepared. I figured, hey, May 12th, I think it was Mother's Day, as a matter of fact, that weekend. May 12th, hey, it's got to be decent in Buffalo. It can't be that cold now. I can't, no. 40 degrees, May 12th. Well, today it's March 28th, 2022. It's 18 degrees in Buffalo. There's no signs of letting up snow just yet. Not a lot of cumulative snow, but a couple crop dustings of snow all over the place. So here we are, sunny Buffalo. It's very sunny out, very nice. It's not always sunny in Buffalo, but it is sunny today. So I'm pretty excited about having at least a nice bright day out. Anyways, I'm Shawn Patrick Greene, host of the Shawn P. Greene Show. I have a lot of things to comment on since Thursday. For those of you who have listened the last week, Wednesday I was kind of like a little bit under the weather, and then it kind of hit me Thursday morning. And then Thursday I had probably about a 19-minute show. Not much to brag about. And then Friday, I just didn't do anything at all. I had no broadcast. So that means a lot has happened since then that I can cover. Notably, for me, as some of you might know, I'm a drummer. And I do have like a TikTok video of me playing drums. It's just the practice, the rehearsal. We do rehearsals at our church. So we did a little rehearsal. This is actually a while ago. I just uploaded an older video, but it's the same song I played. It's funny because this is the same shirt I wore, and we played the same song 2 weeks ago. This is one of my favorite songs that we've covered. So anyways, you know that I'm a drummer, so that's one thing that I do. So you go to TikTok, you can see that. And I think I put another video on maybe my Instagram. Oh no, I put something on Twitch, like a little snippet. Actually, I got a lot of, practice drums snippets on my YouTube channel. So you can check that out if you want to. ShawnPGreene.com. Anyways, what I really want to get to is I want to talk about the passing of a drummer from a modern not Christian, but a modern rock band that has been kind of like the staple in rock music for the last 20 years. Um, but this drummer, I think he came on a little bit later. Tyler Hawkins, Taylor Hawkins. I'm sorry, mispronounce it. I'm gonna put him up on the screen for those people who want or don't know who he is. Taylor Hawkins. Okay, I'm gonna just go to the Wikipedia because it gives you a lot of information about who he is. But he was the drummer. And the way he describes, what a drummer is, it's the glue to the rest of the band. And sometimes I feel that way for our band. Even though our band at church, the Bread of Life Church, we have a lot of very talented people. We have, especially our music director, who is also our senior pastor, Pastor Mike Stratton, is a music director for many years. Now he's a senior pastor. Great musician, great trumpet player, great bass player. I mean, he all around is a great musician, great music leader. He's one of the few people that can do many things, and I would say he's the glue to every band that's been in our church since I've been there, 2010. But sometimes there's moments where the drummer is actually what is the part that keeps everything together, flowing together. So Taylor Hawkins, born in 72. He's 50 years old. Okay, just turned 50 March 28th, 5th. It was actually his birthday last weekend. That was his 50th birthday. And he died in I'm sorry, his birthday was February, but he was 50 years old. Died in Argentina, I believe, while he was on tour. He's just a young fella. I mean, really, I'm 50. It hits me kind of like, okay, wow, I'm gonna be 51 next month. This guy's young still. In my opinion, I feel like I'm young. At some days I feel old. This guy played with Alanis Morissette. Okay, he joined Foo Fighters in 1997, which is the band he's been with. He's also had his own group that he had side project. He said right here. You can see 2004. They had a side project called Taylor Hawkins and the Coattail Riders. So he sang in that one. Played drums too, it looks like. But the big thing was, okay, Jane's Addiction was a big band back in the 90s. So he was with Dave Navarro and Chris Chaney and all that stuff. Another group called NHC, which I don't know who that is. I never really heard anything from them. But in 2021, last year, him and the band Foo Fighters was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, and also voted best rock drummer in 2005 by a British magazine, Rhythm, which is a big, huge honor. Okay, so he did die in Bogota, Colombia, not Argentina, which I thought. He's a Texan. Family moved to Laguna Beach, and that's kind of where, Southern California, where a lot of bands formulate. Big time in the 80s, it was always about being in Los Angeles, big hair rock bands. And then later, up in Seattle, where David Grohl had his start with Nirvana. Now, David Grohl is the front runner for the Foo Fighters. Okay, Taylor was added to the band later, but they kind of formed that brother bond over the years. So I know that he's missing his friend more than just a drummer. So Foo Fighters, in my opinion, has probably been the best the best band of the I say post shock rock era of music. Even before that, after Nirvana, the post, I would say the post garage band era or grunge band era of the early 90s, mid 90s. Foo Fighters has probably been the most consistent and the best rock band in the world. And I'm talking about hard, a little bit more harder rock. Like U2 to me is the best rock band, but they're not hard rock band. They're a post grunge. They're a lot more harder. They have a little punk to them, alternative rock. So Foo Fighters has been the band that's been carrying that rock genre over the last at least 15 years now. The shock rock era is when we as Americans, the troops were sent over to Iraq and Afghanistan to fight terrorism, so to speak, led by President George W. Bush. The shock rock era is really that time frame. You have people like bands like Korn and Guar and all kinds of other, crazy bands that came out, and then some decent bands like Three Doors Down and stuff like that. So, no, I might be talking gibberish to some people. And on the Christian side, there was a lot of bands that came from the Seattle scene or Minnesota or Southern California. There's a lot of good bands that came out from that era as well, the Christian music. And I say the most successful out of that overall to this point is probably Skillet, and still going. Petra is kind of like a pre-punk, pre-grunge era type of band. They were actually more of a 70s, early 80s band, and then they tried to do a little different 80s type music in mid 85. But, Petra, Skillet probably carried Christian rock, so to speak, mainstream wise. They toured with all the big names and all that. They were respected by all the big people. So, but it's sad news, very sad news for us drummers that pay attention to secular music as well. Taylor Hawkins was definitely one of the best drummers in modern times. I can go into it like drummers of all time. Was it Buddy Rich? I think his name is one guy. I'm gonna type it up in my little Google or my Yahoo search. Okay, I'm just gonna go through just a couple people. Okay, there's a few people in history, specifically secular music. Okay, don't get me wrong, who I admire as a musician and their musicianship, not necessarily their lifestyle. Okay, so don't kill the messenger here. I'm just telling you what bands had the best drummers. Now these are just some people's lists. This isn't an extensive list, but John Bonham arguably is one of the best drummers from Led Zeppelin. A lot of people know Led Zeppelin from the 1970s. Bill Bruford from Yes was a great, kind of like a progressive rock band. Phil Collins from Genesis, and they went kind of from progressive rock and Genesis. Phil Collins was just a drummer, backup singer at one point, and became the front singer, the lead singer after. I forgot the other guy's name. Please forgive me. He sang Sledgehammer, all that stuff. Anyways, so Phil Collins, and then he did solo projects. But Phil Collins, phenomenal drummer, another one of my favorites. Peter Criss from Kiss, another rock band, more of a heavy metal band from the 70s. And then mentioned David Grohl, who was Nirvana's drummer, and then now he's the lead singer of Foo Fighters. Taylor Hawkins, the drummer of Foo Fighters, just passed away. Very sad. I mean, we can go on and on. I mean, Ginger Baker was a big drummer in the 60s, 70s, played with Cream. Tommy Lee from Motley Crue. Nick Mason from Pink Floyd. Mitchell from Jimi Hendrix. I would say my all-time favorite, though, is definitely the late Neil Peart, who passed away a few years ago as well. Losing some great people. You know, there's the instruments. You know, I always joke a lot of times when I talk about, hey, yeah, I play drums. I'm a drummer. I said, you know, I even joke. I say, you know, I'm not a musician. I'm just a drummer, because you know, there's no scales and stuff that you really have to know when you play like me. I play by ear, even in piano and stuff like that. I know chords, I know keys, I know some of that stuff, but you don't need to know that as a drummer. You just need to know timing, tempo. And the only thing you got to really read is, okay, is it a 4/4? Is it a 6/8? Is it a 6/4? I mean, there's a lot of different beats that you can understand, but I don't read it. I don't read beats. I'm an ad-libbing, I do whatever feels good type of drummer. Sometimes I'll listen to an original accompaniment of a song, and I'll play almost exactly the way it was played. But with my band at the church, I have free range. I'm like a free range chicken. I do what I feel like doing. So, um, anyways, Sean P. Greene. I'll put my tickers up there. You can call me if you want. 716-253-1870. I did have somebody. I've been having some weird calls, I have to say, on my Google Voice number here. I'll go back to it. Some weird voice messages, some weird texts. I'm not going to, recite all of them, but some of these calls are just like, okay, they're just spam. One of them, like, I got a one-time passcode for my M&T Bank account, which is completely wrong email, web address for one thing. Yeah. Whoever it is out there trying to scam it, you're not going to get it. I don't feel bad about saying that. So, moving on. What else happened this weekend? I did something fun. I actually did something fun. A little comedy. I did a little online fundraiser for Ukraine last night. Most people during last night were watching the Oscars, okay? And they saw the slap that was heard around the world. And we're getting tons and tons of comments on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Some of you guys remember that one what's that? The one meme. People who's on Facebook, social media, you see memes all the time. The one meme where, people keep changing the titles and the wording between Batman and Robin, and it shows Batman doing a slap Robin across the face type of thing. Well, I saw it coming. As soon as I saw the clip of that Will Smith slapping Chris Rock across the face at the Oscars, that's immediately what I gravitate towards, was the slap across the face, Batman to Robin. I even made comments on my Twitter. Let me see if I can find that. No, that's Tumblr. Twitter. I put it somewhere. But it's everywhere. The news is everywhere about this slap in his face. I want to thank all my new followers too, by the way, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Please subscribe. Go to my YouTube page and subscribe, because you also will get alerts when I go live, when I upload new material. And I think there's also a place where you can post stuff there now. I want to find this meme. I mean, it's everywhere now. How can I not find this thing? Well, I'm gonna have to look for it later. But maybe we'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow, because it's a developing story. You know, there's Will Smith assaulting on live television Chris Rock. It's an assault. Now, from what I hear so far, Chris Rock is not going to be pressing any charges. Which, if he did, I'm sure he would get more ridicule for it. But there's so many levels to this thing. This story is so complicated, and there's so many different angles you can put on it. There you go. Here's a picture of Will Smith, the post slap. Now, somebody said he punched him, but he didn't punch him. It was a full-handed slap right across the face. And now he probably has TBI, and probably got shaken up quite a bit. That was a pretty hard slap. Leave my wife's name out of your effing mouth, is what Will Smith said. It's amazing. You know, the Oscars were supposed to be a good time. You know, people getting awards, rich people getting all this recognition for, you know, their accomplishments as directors, producers, you know, which is a good thing. You know, people should get rewarded. But I think tickets for this was, you know, I don't know, it could be tens of thousands. I don't know, 100,000s. Not the point. Point is, these people really have a good time, you know, boasting about their accomplishments. And some people are disappointed, obviously. Some people wish they had more, you know, more awards or whatever. But they get recognized, they're nominated, so people notice their work. And sometimes that helps. The Oscars helps low box office gaining films. It happens a lot, you know. The art world is like, hey, this should have been a blockbuster. This was a great movie. Sometimes some studios make or break, you know, their films, and hopefully the Oscars will help them out to get people to watch or purchase or stream or whatever the films that win, or at least are nominated. I personally, half of them I haven't seen. If actually, let's make that the majority of the Oscar films, nominated or won, doesn't matter, I've never seen. I'm just, and I'm into film, and I'm a film student, you know, graduate, and I'm a filmmaker. But the Oscars don't excite me, because it's a fashion show for the actors, really. It's a good little time to talk for people who are fans of them. It's just not my thing. I'm just not into award shows. I don't know why. But Will Smith slapping Chris Rock across the face is an ongoing situation that I might be talking about more this week. Who knows? But all I got to say is pray for our talent. Pray for our talent. You know, they got enough to gloat about in their life, to worry about winning or losing or being disrespected on live TV. I mean, Chris Rock is a comedian. What do comedians do? Make fun of people. That's part of the gig, okay? Will Smith took it a little too sensitively, I think. You know, there is a lot of stuff we can talk about when it comes to Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, the history of their relationships. People, we could do that, but this is not a gossip column. This is not that kind of show. I don't want to make fun of people. I don't want to make light of situations. I like to report about it, but if something is totally ridiculous, this was kind of like in that realm, a little ridiculous. I think Will Smith went a little too far. But enough about him. Enough about the Oscars. I missed the Oscars last night because of the fact I did a little comedy skit online. It was like a Zoom call. It was a Zoom call, not like one. It's a Zoom call of different comedians and improv people and all that stuff, and it went well. I think the purpose of this thing was to raise money to support people in Ukraine, refugees, and helping with supplies and material for people who are escaping Ukrainian issues. It's a humanitarian effort, and so from what I understood, by the time we were done with our 2-hour session, about $900 was raised, which is great. I think the goal was a little bit more than that, over 2,000, and I'm sure they'll get it eventually. But I might be doing this a couple more times. But I was given an invitation to do it, and I did it. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. So I've been getting requests lately for more comedy type situations, improv, stage. All these things are out of nowhere, and I was never even considering it recently. I have considered it over time, but I've never written material. My father and I, who lives in Florida, we bounced ideas together, and he and I can go hours. Not as much now, so much because of his health, but he and I could be on the phone for hours talking nonsense for about nothing, doing word plays on each other. I don't know if you know what that is, but you can just take like a phrase, flip the phrase by substituting a word or something that sounds like it, and just go on for at least an hour. We can do nonsense. So I bounced a couple ideas off of him a lot of times, and I've decided, okay, it might be time to develop some material. I think it's time. I've been waiting to do something like this for a while. So I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to get a routine down, a couple routines, a couple snippets of comedy. I'm going to go for it. Why not? So you heard it first here. The Shawn P. Greene Show, March 28th, 2022. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try to put my name out there as a comic and try to get more involved in comedy. And there's a lot of opportunities out there. And I think more than ever, people want to laugh because they're just the people who survived this pandemic, quarantine, isolation, masks. They're just tired of this whole last 2 years. People are just anxious to just do something fun and then get encouraged again and just have get out there. I feel you, man. I was right there with you, right here in the good old U.S. of A. But I think doing a Ukrainian fundraiser type of thing would be also a great idea to implement for film festival, which is the Great Lakes Christian Film Festival. I finally put a little thing on a tab on my website, ShawnPGreene.com, where it says other sites. If you go all the way to the top, all the way to the end, finally added that tab up there, right here. So you can go to ShawnPGreene.com, other sites, and you'll see all the different projects I've had over the last 20 years, really. Film Festival, this is our 8th year. So, Great Lakes Christian Film Festival, glcff.com. God Chaser Sports, Flavor Radio Network, Shout Out, One Accord DJ Alliance, Christian Rhythmic. These are all, most of that is music. But the film side of things, I'm into a lot of new things that I'm developing. Now, I've been part of the 48-hour film project for many years, and it's going to be probably last minute decision if I'm going to be involved in it again this year. But I really, wow, man, I'm tired. Been a long weekend. I just want to consider doing that again this year. But I'm going to be doing a lot more projects, film projects. I'm writing right now. I'm developing some material. We're going to have some fun with this next era, for me anyways. I believe my half-life has begun now. I tend to be here until I'm 100 years old. So I'm going to look back at some of this stuff like, wow, back when I was 50, what a nerd. I've always been a nerd. I've always been a geek at times. Sometimes I try to be cool and it doesn't work out too well. Still get ridiculed and made fun of and laughed at. Might as well be a comic. So, any questions, any comments? I do have some comments on the board here. Oh, wow, look at that. Of course, my mother. Good morning, son. Happy Monday. Be blessed. I love you, Mama. You're always there for me. It was a good time last night. Yep. She says, sorry I missed your comedy show. Yes, Mama. It was a good time last night, but it was recorded, and I'm going to be sharing a snippet of that maybe. Actually, I'll give the link to you later. You can see it. And then I also got something on Twitch. Not worth looking at. Best followers, primes, and views on blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, it's a spam. Twitch is full of spam for one thing. I'm not really fond of Twitch right now. The only thing I don't like about Twitch, here's my last comment about that, is that whatever I put on there, streaming-wise, it only stays on there for 14 days. And then it's gone. Unless I make a clip of it, the platform or Twitch doesn't have any existence of a show older than 14 days old. So that's kind of like a downfall. But because I have it on YouTube, it's fine. And I do have it on Twitter. I also record this, okay? So I'll have a hard copy of all this stuff on my hard drives and all that stuff as backups for future purposes, because who knows, I have old material. I'm going to release it one of these days in the near future. But I have this thing I was thinking on doing, inspired by an old pastor I had of mine. Reading the Bible and doing a sermonette or whatever. I called it His Way. In other words, like His Way. And it was my first attempt to kind of like talk on a camera in a Bible study sense. Call it His Way. I recorded it on VHS. That's part of the things I'm rolling out this past 2-3 years on my YouTube channel. VHS tapes. It's a whole playlist. You can watch a lot of these things. It's basically my whole life from 1988 VHS tapes I started recording through, I think 2005 it will end up being, but we're right at about the summer of 1999. We're not quite finished uploading the VHS from 1999. Almost finished with that era. I think my cousin Garrett's wedding might have been the last thing I put up there. I don't know, or it could have been. You know what? Let's go to it. let's check it out. I'll go to my YouTube channel, okay, and I know I'm live there right now. 10:30, 10:39 a.m., 10:40 almost. You know, you can go there live as well. Comment. My mother's there. My mom is my faithful listener. I love you. I got new subscribers. On top of that, thank you guys. I'm asking you to help me get to 600. Let me see if I can find my show. But let's do it this way. Hang on. It slows down a little bit. I'm going to close a couple of these windows. I got a lot of windows open here. Okay, that's a little bit better. Go to my videos. I'm going to check out. Let's see what I got here. Please be patient. If those are listening, I'm just going to my YouTube channel. I'm going to try to find. Okay, the last thing I put up, yes, 1999 summer. Right before I started doing this podcast, I launched this again. I'm calling this season 2. Okay, so February 16th, I launched season 2 of the Shawn P. Greene Show. Prior to that, I was uploading a bunch of videos from 1999. I got my vacation. Okay, again, I was talking about this earlier. I took vacations to Buffalo. I lived in Florida for 12 years. So coming to Buffalo was vacation. Since 2010, I've been a resident. So now I live here again. And I don't mind it. I really like the seasons. I love the different atmospheres and different festivals that Buffalo has. We are definitely a festival city. Festivals all kind, mostly in the summer. So as soon as the weather breaks here, come to Buffalo. Every weekend there's a festival. From May through October. It's nonstop action. Sometimes people are doubling up, festivals. It's so difficult to get to all of them. So one of my last moments in 1999 in that summer vacation was my cousin's wedding, which I haven't put up yet, but myself and an old friend of mine, Mike Setlock, who was a DJ here in Buffalo, wedding DJ. He's been a radio DJ, mixed DJ. He's just a master of ceremonies for sure. He and I went to the Erie County Fair, and we watched with a late friend of ours, Mike Powers. We watched the Demolition Derby. To me, was like it's one of the greatest events I've ever been to in my life. I love the Demolition Derby. Brought my daughter Mariah to one a couple years ago, and she's also a fan. So Demolition Derbies is definitely a cultural experience. You either love it or you hate it. So when you get a chance, check it out. A lot of VHS stuff. I got a parody song in there called Isabella. It's a school project. Want to check that out? I got a lot of stuff. You go to ShawnPGreene.com. Click on the projects tab. You'll see some of the projects I did for college, and they're kind of like they're not super professional. They were just meant to satisfy an assignment, but nevertheless, it was opportunities to be creative. Some music, some video, among other things. So maybe someday I'll compile a huge list of all my projects, which I still have on my computers, on my external hard drives. I'm looking at this here, 1997. I think that's one of the videos with my friend Dave Cicatello. I think 97 was the time I came to visit Buffalo when it was 40 degrees in May. Incredible. So, and anyways, I'm Shawn P. Greene. This is Shawn P. Greene Show. I'll be on probably about 15 more minutes if you guys want to call, want to text. 716-253-1870. I have I have a couple comments about the comedy skit I did yesterday. Um, First of all, I do label myself a clean comic. I don't come off with, you know, dirty, nasty, foul language, all that stuff. I don't. It's just not what I'm trying to present myself as. I'm not gonna say that I don't from time to time, slip of the lip of, say a word or two here. Okay, I'm not gonna fake that I'm clean mouthed all the time, because there are times I'm not. But when it comes to my public display, as far as an act or whatever, I do want to make sure that I come off with a family friendly appeal. Just want to make sure I make content and have appeal for that audience. Now, mind you, I have a whole bunch of videos that are not viewable to the general public of my Navy adventures. And that's because that is goes from a PG to a PG-13 to an R-rated realm, and that's not something I'm going to present publicly. But a lot of my shipmates and former Navy veterans and all that stuff who experienced all these things with me, they do have access to that, and they have watched it and they love it. We've had some good times. I might show some other clips of some of the things I've done, but obviously I'm going to have to edit a lot of stuff out. I'm going to actually make a full documentary of my life and times in the service. I do have a short snippet of my transition from high school to entering the military during the Gulf War era. It's called Serious Service. So if you get a chance, that's also in the projects tab under UB stuff, or stuff at UB. Let's go right to, I'll show you where it's at, help you navigate projects. Stuff at UB, and you'll see it. A couple things. Serious Service was my final project for DMS 105 basic documentary, and it was basically just recaps my like I said, being a high school student, mostly a senior, to being my first year in the Navy, kind of like what that is. Now, post all of that, I would say was some of my darkest times in my life. And that would be, when I when I got married and all that stuff as I was exiting the service. And then I moved to Florida. It's a long transition. A lot of mental illness, a lot of really poor decisions, and a lot of cowardly moves, if you will, on my part. And yet I'm here. So somehow I survived my stupidity to get to this point to where I'm grown up. Well, I wouldn't say I'm grown up, and I'm not going to necessarily say I'm mature, but I've gotten better in life being a human being, trying to contribute to society the best that I can. Now, my mom commented again here, only when you're with your brother and dad. Well, mostly with my dad. My brother's not as comically, jokingly, he's not a joker with me. And this is talking about when my father and I have conversations over the phone. My brother and I don't have these kind of conversations. My brother's a lot more serious than me, more sincere. He is goofy at times. He was goofier when he was younger, but that's part of maturity. And sometimes I can be goofy, but as far as being ridiculous, that's my father and I's department. My mother is a lot more sincere, although she'll laugh at me from time to time. And then my brother is more sincere, although he can be funny as well. My sister, on the other hand, if she's in a room with me and my dad, Now we're talking some. It could be insane. It gets crazy. We both bounce it off each other's brains. We're the three of us click about the same way, mentally, and comically. We're all three of us are pretty much the cynics of the family unit. Of course, Melissa has her children, adult children, and all that. They also have these kind of humor. So, anyways, long story short, gonna try to get into a comedy skit scenes. Gonna try to do some short films, comically, maybe TikTok-ish type stuff, because it's a big thing, and I got a few hits on TikTok, and who knew, So I'm gonna give that a shot. So if anybody has any material they want to be a writer for me, you can always call me, text me, email me, and I want you to be a part of the process with me and get some credit for it. First, you can call me 716-253-1870. You can also email me and donate using Shawn PG. That's SHAWN PG716 at gmail.com, and go to Cash App Shawn PG716. So yeah, so check it out, man. Check it out. Be a part of the process. Buffalo Bills. Our Buffalo Bills head coach, Sean McDermott. His slogan when he first started as a coach was "Trust the process." And I'm saying, hey, if you want to be a part of my process, trust this process. It's been slow moving, but now we're in high gear. Buffalo Bills, we got a lot of stories to talk about this week. The draft is coming up. Fantasy Sports is drafting for baseball right now, and we're concluding basketball. That's all part of my other sites, SeanPGree.com, other dash sites. Great. Let's see, what is it? God Chaser Sports. That's another little entity that I've been dabbling in over the last 20 years. So if you're into it, if you're interested in being a part of it, feel free to go to that site too, and just contact me if you want to be a part of the film, not just the film festival, but also fantasy sports. So there's so much I'm doing, and so many things that I have my hands in. Music has kind of been like about 20 years worth of my time, and I've been kind of weaning myself off of that. Now I'm in film. So if you guys want to be a part of what we're doing, just contact me, and we'll talk later about it. I do have somebody commenting on my Facebook real quick. Okay. We'll get into that later, I guess. Okay. All right. No comments on my Facebook. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening. I got 7 minutes left. Maybe I'll just play you a little music or a little snippet of something. What do you want to watch? What do you want to watch? Do you want to know what my favorite thing is? Favorite thing is old videos. I love showing some of the old clips. What should I show? Well, we were talking about my friend Dave. Let's see what Dave is up to. Let's see.
This is the Moss.
Okay, that was Moss, Kenny Moss, an old friend of mine. And I don't know if I have anything here. Okay, yeah, there's my shaven back. All right, so I'll let you watch a little bit of this for a little bit, and then I'll come back in a second.
Look at Shawn's sexy body. Not really, but we could say that.
You could. Maybe you could. Who knows?
We really shouldn't, but oh well.
Hour by hour, he drove up and down the freeways with her, totally powerless to touch her.
Hey,
3
Mumsy.
hours later, he drove her right back to that same supermarket parking lot and put her out and said, "Get out!" Because the word of God can save your life.
Not much. We're taking off.
Major laser surgery.
Why do I gotta do this, man?
Shawn, I can't see shit.
Huh?
Oh, it's okay.
You using the shutter?
Don't use the shutter thing. What are you doing the shutter thing for?
Guys, if I was. So that's me, my brother Brandon, holding the camera, and then Mike Powers, a friend of mine. That's the late, great Mike Powers. It was probably me and Mike Setlock and him were the three amigos back in high school. I mean, Mike Powers, Mike Setlock, myself, we all had friends everywhere. But Mike Powers and Mike Setlock and I, we formed a bond in high school during that time. And this is actually, I think this is McKinley Mall, if I'm not mistaken. Check this out. Yep, McKinley Mall. Wow, this is the old McKinley Mall. Look at this. Wow. Of course, the cameraman is a little shaky. That's my bro. Love him.
There he is, the man.
Oh, Powers got the. There's Brandon.
We're gonna turn on.
Okay, so that was it. And then here's, okay, this is funny because my friend Dave lives on, well, used to live on, was it Donald Road? And they had all these little birds flapping and, little ducks walking across the road. So I call it Donald Duck Road. Ha ha ha. I think his father lived there. And that's where Dave lived before he moved into the place where he lives now. Donald Duck Road. There he is. There he is.
We're going to a seminar.
Okay, so Dave, myself, and my mother, I took him to an Amway meeting. Yeah, back in 94 till probably 97, that was it for me. I did 4 years of going around Tampa Bay mostly at all these meetings. You know, Amway is like a big, company that sells soaps and all kinds of other stuff. And then there's a company outside of that that was a system, if you will, a pyramid scheme of distributors called ProNet. And I was involved in that for 4 years just for the fun of it. I don't know why. I think it was a waste of time, but I read a lot of books because of that experience. So I felt like I give it one more shot. I brought my mom and Dave to one of the meetings, and this is what Dave is talking about.
Okay, we are on Donald Duck Drive here. Shawn finally brought his lazy butt back down to Buffalo, and we are going to a seminar. Take a look. This is the last time you're going to see me dressed like that and him like that.
Who's the pretty lady over there?
That's Mom.
Hi, Mom. There's Dave. Here's Dave. Dave's gonna be the carrier.
People like assistant produce manager Robin Sheen.
It's still on.
That was my Geo Metro, 1992 Geo Metro. It was my very first car. I bought it brand new in San Diego. put lots of miles on it. I mean, it probably is over 120,000. But you know, oh, shout out to Renee Goodfellow, my cousin. All right, happy birthday. That was my mom shouting it out. Renee Goodfellow is my cousin, my mother's side, my Uncle Louie's daughter, the late Uncle Louie. Shout out to Renee. Love you. I say Renee because that's how it's spelled, but that's because I'm goofy. So anyway, clip just hanging out with Dave.
You missed it. I just took my robot off. How we get there, Dave? Turn around. That's a good start. Yes. The other side.
I don't know what
Hello,
this is.
everybody. We are now leaving the pier. I met the cousins.
Excellent. A cone.
I totally met the twins, you know. And out here we got Mr. Michael Powers. What's the date? What's up, man? Today
Very
is
dark.
July. The morning is 7th. We got
Nice.
Shawn driving and Miss. Let me roll on the window. Which one is that? Kelly. Miss Kelly in the front.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
Cousin Kelly.
Kelly, that was that necessary.
I gotta work 9 hours tomorrow.
Don't feel bad.
What's
I gotta work
Powers
8.
tomorrow?
It's right around here. It is? Yeah. Okay, now we are gonna try to see if we can get
Why don't you stay here until
Why don't
Mike
you-
gets off?
me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Want to do that?
All right, I don't know what we're doing here.
I'll meet you back here.
There's a place called the Pier down in Buffalo, which was along the outer harbor. I think they call it now. I don't know. I wasn't living here during this time, but I visited this place called the Pier. It was the club that everybody went to, outside of some many other clubs in downtown, but outside downtown, the Pier was the place, and they had little places where you can, park your boat up to, and you can go to this club, blah blah blah. So that's what we were doing. We were hanging out.
Okay. Go ahead.
So, anyways, cousin Kelly was with us. I didn't realize this. We won't incriminate her, so we'll just keep going forward. What's this? Oh, I went to McDonald's. I don't know what this is about. We were interviewing somebody. All right, there's really nothing. Dave's relatives, ha ha ha. So, anyways, that video is on there if you want to watch it. Check it out. I'll turn that off. There's really nothing else to watch on that one. You can always go, once again, YouTube channel, go to ShawnPGreene.com and you'll find a link for it. So I got so much material to cover, so many stories to tell you, but we want to also do not just stories, but cover what's modernly happening today. Anyways, I'm not going to go into anything else today. There's so much more to talk about. So many things I wanted to talk about. It's difficult. I could probably cover 2 things in a 1 hour show. And I don't want to make these longer than a 1 hour segment if it's just me flying solo. So, but thank you. If anybody wants to see the comedy skit I did last night, let me know. I'll give you the link to it. The troupe that I've never worked with before. They're all out of Toronto, Canada. I was the only one that was, I think, from, you know, broadcasting from the US. But hey, Toronto's 2 hours away from Buffalo. So I didn't feel too distant from this group of people that we were performing with. Basically, long story short, they had like a 2 hour show, Zoom call, and they paired me up with one person who I've never heard or talked with before. And basically, it's improv. It's totally improv. No talking points. They started. Somebody will start off a conversation with a pair before us, and then somehow we filtered in some of that material into ours, and then we made our own. I had fun doing it. Okay, it was a good time. So if you want to check it out, if you want a link, you got to contact me. I'll email it to you. It's on Facebook, and I put a link up to the actual event page on my Facebook page. If you go to a Facebook page, ShawnPGreene.com, you'll see the link for my Facebook page. You'll see the link for the event. In that event, go look at the discussions tab, and you will find, and I'll show it to you on the screen so it's easier. We're going to my homepage, ShawnPGreene.com. Go to my Facebook page, and then you'll see one of the front things right there, my mug, and you'll see right up top right now, dated March 27th, 2022. We stand with Ukraine, and you'll see. Let's see if I can click it. It's not let me in. Let me in. Okay, there I am. There it is. Stand with Ukraine, and you just click this discussion tab. The event is over, which is probably why it might not be searchable. And there you go. The video is right here. But if you want a link to it, let me know. You can instant message me on Facebook. And that's it. Or you can email me and I'll try to respond in a timely manner. So, and once again, thank you. It was a benefit for Ukraine humanitarian efforts. Stand up, improv comics. We all hung out together. And they were out of Toronto. I just thought that was interesting. I didn't even consider going to Toronto to do comedy yet. And yet, I feel like I'm being pulled in to the comic world. So stay tuned for more material another time. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of my life and following along with what I'm doing on a weekly basis. If you have anything you want me to cover, I do from time to time. I'll have a Bible study day and then something fun, like a fun facts day, which would probably be Fridays, and a word Wednesday is probably where I'm going with that. Monday is basically the recap of the garbage that's happened for the whole week, mostly the weekends. So not always garbage. Sometimes it's good news. But I have all the gossip column type stuff on Mondays. It's maybe spilling into Tuesdays. But Tuesdays and Thursdays, I want to do interview type things. So I'm going to probably get somebody on tomorrow that I can interview that will talk about their world. I think it's more interesting to listen to other people than myself for the most part. So, and I know you agree because some of my talking points could be controversial. They could be something that you don't agree with, and which is fine. And I love you for disagreeing with me if that's the case. And I love you if you do agree with me either way. But I don't hate you if you would disagree. And I don't if you have a topic that you're completely against that I stand for, I don't hate you, and I never will. I might come off a little sarcastic or cynical at times when I reply to certain topics, but it's not hate. It's strictly my passionate belief in this subject. That's all. All right, ShawnPGreene.com, all the links, all the social media. Getting back to it, getting some material, and I got lots to do in my personal life. Shout out once again to my both daughters. Okay, I want to shout out Sadie, who just turned 28. Thank you for watching. If you finally got a chance to, I love you. I do want to connect with you whenever that's possible. I believe we have a lot to catch up on and a lot of things to straighten out fact-wise. Shout out to my daughter Mariah, who's going to be 20 next month. She's autistic, but she's absolutely the funniest person, most interesting human being I've met. So, apart from her being my daughter. So we're going to have more material with her eventually. But if you have a chance and if you want to watch some fun things, little snippets that I used to do with my daughter, and I still do from time to time. We call it the Fudge and Whoa Whoa Update. Just go to YouTube, type in Fudge and Whoa Whoa, and you'll see all our snippets. We did a lot of fun stuff together. So, me and Mariah. In the meantime, keep it locked. ShawnPGreene.com. Call, email, follow me. Make sure you hit up all my social media. Follow, like, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I appreciate that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And for those who listen to Mixcloud, thank you for tuning in. Keep it locked. ShawnPGreene.com.